I wanted to get you started while I'm not here just to kind of refresh. So I'm going to do the first 3 with you and then I'll let you go on your own. What you are supposed to do is factor each of these given polynomials. We'll do it using the snowflake method. And then when you're done, you end up with a set of 2 parentheses. Remember, when we write our answers, we always write them as a set of 2 parentheses. Well, one of the factors, each of those parentheses are known as factors, one of the factors will appear in the list here. And what we're going to do is use that answer as part of our Mad Lib. I don't know if you remember doing Mad Libs maybe when you were younger, where somebody would say, give me a noun or give me a pronoun or adverb or adjective, and then you just filled in the spots on the sheet. Well, we're going to do that, except for you're not going to be given ask for a noun or ask for a name or whatever. Instead, what you'll be doing is selecting from the list of optional answers on that sheet. So let's just go through and factor this like we did in the past. So I'm going to set up my snowflake, multiply the front and the last, that gives me 30. The middle is negative 11, that goes on the bottom, and then I do 2x and 2x. And remember, what I'm looking for is 2 numbers that multiply to be 30 but add to be negative 11. I know because 30 is positive and negative, or 11 is negative, both of these must be negative numbers, because a negative times a negative will give me a positive. So I can just start by going through the factors. I always start with 1 and itself, and then I check to see if 2 goes into it, and then if 3 goes into it, and by it I mean 30. Then if 4 goes into 30, it doesn't. So then 5 goes in 6 times. And once I find one that I can move around and manipulate and get 11 with, then I can fill that into the missing spots. So I'll do negative 5 and negative 6. Negative 5 times negative 6 is positive 30. Negative 5 plus negative 6 is negative 11. Always one of these will be able to be reduced. So on the right-hand side now, oops, I can reduce. I can divide both things by a 2, so it's x minus 3. So my 2 factors are 2x minus 5 and x minus 3. So then I'll go through the list, and it looks like 2x minus 5 is an option. So C is my answer, Mr. Brewer. So I'll go back onto this, the bottom of that page where I did my work on, and the answer to number 1, or sorry, Mrs. Brewer, the answer to number 1 was Mrs. Brewer, so I'll put that in on that line. Then I'm going to move on to problem number 2, and again I'm going to work my way through. So I'm going to work through 3 of these with you, and then I'll let you go on your own and do the factoring on your own. You have workspaces for you, so I need to flip the order that I have these so that I can bring this one up. I'm going to have to fold this to fit on my desk, sorry. But there I have my problem number 2, and I have my problem number 2 workspace. So again, I'm going to take and make my snowflake, and again, I'm going to put that in parentheses. Now, we've been doing this for a while, so this is not new. It shouldn't be new. I look right here. I do the first and the last to get the top, negative 60, and then the bottom is negative 28. 5n, take that number in front and put it next to the variable. 5n goes on each of those spots. 2 numbers that when I multiply them, I get negative 60. When I add them, I get negative 28. So I know one needs to be negative and the other one needs to be positive, and I also know that the bigger one needs to be the negative number. So again, I'll go through and start listing 1 and 60. I always start with 1 in the number. This is 2 and 30, and I didn't have to go very far because now I recognize that if I did 2 minus 30, I would get negative 28. So it's going to be negative 30 and positive 2. Again, at least one, maybe sometimes even both, but at least one of these will be able to be reduced. And I see on the left-hand side this time I can take out a 5, so that's n minus 6. So when I write my answer, I get n minus 6 and 5n plus 2. So now I'll go down this list and see if I can find one of those answers. It looks like I can. A is one of my factors. So again, I'm going to go to my answer sheet. I'll flip to the second page. A was perplexed, so I'll fill in the word perplexed. Again, one last problem that we're going to do together, and then I'm going to let you go on your own. So I'm going to move it back to problem number 3. I've got my number 3 workspace to work in. Once the video is done and you're working on your own, feel free to talk with other people, and you can work with other people as you work through, but your goal is to finish that Mad Lib and get the whole story that goes with it, this factoring worksheet. So which of the following expressions is a factor below? So I'm going to set up my snowflake, front and last. 3 times negative 45, that's negative 135. Again, that was 3 times negative 45. It's the front number times the last number. 3 times negative 45, negative 135. And then the middle is 22, 3a and 3a. So now I'm going to go ahead with two numbers that multiply to be negative 135 and add to be 22. Well, this time, because the top is negative, it's got to be a negative and a positive again, but this time the bigger number has to be positive. So I'm going to set up my start. We'll list my factors of 135, and I always start with 1 and 135, or 1 in the number. 2 doesn't go in. I'll try 3. 3 times 45. Then I'll try 4. 4 times, doesn't look like 4 goes in. And you can just take your calculator and you'll know if it goes in or not, because if I did 135 divided by 4, I have to turn it on apparently, 135 divided by 4, I get a decimal number, and I don't want to work with decimal numbers. So then next I'll try 5. So 5, I do 135 divided by 5, and I get 27, 5 and 27. And again, I didn't have to go too far, because now I know if I do negative 5 plus 27, I'll get 22. Negative 5 plus 27. Again, check to see if one or both can be simplified. Reduce it like a fraction. I can pull a 3 out of both of those, so a and 9. So my two factors are 3a minus 5 and a plus 9. Then I go look at my list. Are any of those factors there? It looks like I found D. So I'll go to the back Mad Lib page, and we will be next to 3. It said riding go-karts. All right, so now your job is to continue working through this worksheet, factoring, setting up the snowflake. Work your way through the rest of these, and then when I get back in class, you can ask some questions. If you happen to finish before I get back, you can put it in the basket, but just kind of keep working on it. And if you don't finish it, if I don't get back before the bell rings, then I'd like you to complete that for homework, and we'll revisit it again when we meet on Wednesday, or depending on if there's a snow day or not, we'll figure that out. All right. Have a great one. Bye.